Hello, here is Fernanda, Hitchhiking Stars, bringing insights about these lunar cycles. And so today what we're going to be looking at is the new moon. So there is a new moon on the 9th of February 2024, and this one will be happening at 20 degrees Aquarius. So what is this new moon going to be about? Let's have a look about Aquarius, but also look in the chart with a bit more detail and what is the chart reflecting. So first of all, let's look at this specific degree of the zodiac as usual. So I like to look at the Sabian symbol and get a little imagery for the specific degree that the lunation is happening. Now we know that new moons have something to do with the new beginning, with the start of a cycle, with planting seeds, with setting intentions, and all of that. So we definitely have that energy here because it's a new moon. But also the imagery for the 20th degree of Aquarius is a woman disappointed and disillusioned, courageously facing the future. So here I'm going to say it again. A woman disappointed and disillusioned, courageously facing the future. So there's something very puzzling about this image when I was thinking about, when I was preparing this little note for you. And I think courageously facing the future is a very, very important part here that is a strong message for this new cycle, for this new moon. So it's a lot about realizing where we are, that we're not where we want it to be. Like, keep in mind that we've just coming out of a very powerful retrograde period. So we had a lot of planets going retrograde since September last year, and by the end of January we had the planets moving forward, every single planet moving forward. So Uranus was the last one, and now we're in this phase of getting setting sails, feeling the breeze again, and moving forward again with our lives, with our projects, with things. So there is something about becoming aware of the disillusionments, of the disappointments that we've faced, that we experienced in our lives recently, in the last month or few months, depending on what your transits personally. So it's always going to come down to your natal chart. But if we think about more collectively here, there's something about what happened to us and realizing these things, the sad things, this disappointments, but using that as fuel to look for the future, to look courageously face the future, as this Sabian symbol is talking about. So it is about being grateful for what we have. I think it does relate a lot with the 5 of Cups. So if you use tarot as well, that imagery, especially of the Rider-Waite tarot, where we have an image for grief. We have 3 cups knocked down and 2 cups are still standing up behind the figure in the card. And a lot of the interpretations is that figure is grieving what is lost and is just about to turn around, grab those 2 cups and move on. So there's something about that with this symbol as well here, with the 20th degree of Aquarius as well, in the sense of picking up our cups, picking up what we have, realizing the things that we have and that we're grateful for, that we're grateful about, that we're going to take with us into the future. I like to think as well that Aquarius is a sign that's very future oriented as well. So there's something about facing the future with a new moon in Aquarius anyways, because it is more visionary, it's more about the future than the past, like a Cancerian new moon would be. So we have already this sense of a future oriented, of paying attention, of thinking about what's to come. So again, being grateful, realizing what needs to be left, realizing the things that didn't go the way we wanted to go, but also setting intentions with what we have and thinking about the future in that way. So this is one of the messages here with this new moon in Aquarius. Now, in general, when we think about Aquarius, we think about groups, we think about our role in a community as well. So what can we do, what can we offer to the community that's going to be useful, but that's also going to be unique, is our unique role in the community. So this new moon can also have a bit of that flavor as well. What can we offer? What is our role? What is our what are we in charge of in the group situation? What are we bringing to the table in a group situation? And make it happen, basically, bring it and make it happen. There is a very strong emphasis on Saturn in this new moon as well. And again, give me this sense of making something real, making something tangible with these seeds, with these, facing future that we're gonna be going through with this new moon. So even though it is an Aquarian flavor, we also have this emphasis on Saturn, and that's because Aquarius is traditionally ruled by Saturn, and we have a lot of planets in Aquarius. So we have Pluto, we have Mercury, the Sun, and the Moon. So we have 4 planets here in Aquarius, traditionally ruled by Saturn, but we also have Venus and Mars in Capricorn, which is also ruled by Saturn. So all of that is bringing us back to Saturn. And there is more that I want to say about this, but I'm going to tell you in a little bit before I move into the importance of Saturn in this new moon. Let's have a look at the aspects that this new moon is making. There's something interesting here as well, because the last new moon we had was in Capricorn, and it was trine to Uranus and square to the lunar nodes. Now, what we have with this following new moon, the second new moon of the year, is a square to Uranus and a trine and sextile to the nodes. So we sort of inverted a little bit the theme and the flavor of the previous new moon. So with the square to Uranus is a bit of a double whammy, because Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So we have a very strong Aquarian Uranian flavor with this new moon. The square to Uranus brings unexpected events, unpredictable situations, unpredictable people coming into your life as well, potentially. But also we can think about that square through the signs as well. What is the difference between Taurus and Aquarius? So this might tell us a little bit about the potential conflict that we might experience during this lunar cycle between wanting a structure, wanting to feel safe and secure, wanting to have stability, which will be Taurus, and the Aquarius impulse to be more future oriented, to be more rebellious as well. So we might find ourselves in a situation where we're feeling more rebellious, where we don't want to compromise. So as this duality between what is our role in the group, but also how much can we compromise and be part of a group, be a team player and do the thing. How can we balance this? These different impulses, and I think the signs can tell us a little bit about this conflict that we might experience with the square to Uranus. We might find hard to give up our independence as well during this lunar cycle. So it's really important not to try and overcompromise, not to try and lose your voice in a crowd, because you're trying to compromise, you're trying to fit in, because that Uranus square will eventually break into some sort of rebelliousness and some sort of non-compromising situation. I think what the planets show us is a strong energy, a strong tendency that's in the air, and the more conscious we can channel these energies, the less we need to deal with the strong consequences of unconscious behavior, right? So it's like Carl Jung used to say that we behave unconsciously, obviously not in these words, but we behave unconsciously, and then we call that our fate, because we're just repeating patterns and doing things that we're not really thinking through. So there's something about that with that Sun-Uranus square. With the trine and the sextile to the nodes, excuse me, as I mentioned, as something about the process of growth there as well. And with the North Node in Aries, obviously there's something about taking initiative, knowing our individuality, our individual needs, and what we want in a situation, and being able to express that as well. So that's still there with this new moon as well. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention about this new moon is the role of Saturn. As I mentioned before, Saturn has a very strong role because it rules a big stellium, a big bunch of planets that are in Saturnian or Saturn rule signs. So we've got, as I mentioned, the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, and Pluto in Aquarius, and Venus and Mars in Capricorn as well. So when we have a strong emphasis in Saturn, we have a strong emphasis on taking responsibility. Whatever the situation, whatever the intentions you're setting as well, it is about taking responsibility for it. Understanding what is your role in a situation, what is your contribution on something that might be happening in your life. Any conflict, any sudden unexpected change, what is your role in that situation? Things didn't just happen to you, but there's that sense of what is your contribution there, even by responding to the situation, right? With Saturn being in Pisces, is also about taking our spirituality seriously in whatever the situation is, or however this cycle goes as well. It's about taking Piscean themes seriously and being very responsible with it as well. So developing psychic abilities, our visions, our dreams, daydreaming, and how we are responsible for manifesting this in life, and how responsible we need to be in whatever we're going to be sharing with people as well, right? So if you do serve others, if you do readings and, cleansing, or you're a healer, so really being aware of what your role is and what are you really offering to people, I think, with this new moon and that Saturn in Pisces. With that strong emphasis in Saturn, there is also, it's like a little hidden trio that's going to be very active during this lunar cycle. And that's because they're on each other's signs. So we've got Saturn in Pisces, which brings us to Jupiter, which is in Taurus, which then is ruled by Venus, which is in Capricorn. So we are taken back to Saturn. So they work as a little trio, as a little team together as well. So again, that gives us clues on how to face the future, how to courageously face the future, because they have gifts. They're in a dialogue, the three planets. So Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn, it is about taking it seriously. It is about trying to see what structures are meant to stay, where you can get stability in your life, but not compromise your ideas or your ideals so much, or your dreams with the Piscean influence. But with the Capricorn influence there as well, and the Jupiter in Taurus, is really about aligning yourself with your values. I keep saying that, and I can't stretch how important that is to really center your decisions in your life on your values, on your core values, finding out what is the core values that you want to build your life around. So that trio between Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus is emphasizing your core values in a situation. That's how you're going to be able to deal with the disillusions, the disappointments, the sudden changes that Uranus is square to the new moon might be reflective of. All right. So that's it. I hope this is helpful. I hope you have a wonderful new cycle filled with beautiful visions of the future, and I'll be speaking to you all soon. Bye bye now. Take care.